Hello! Welcome back to the Abby Does Stuff YouTube channel. Slay. Today I've decided that my TBR is getting ridiculous. So I'm going to steal a classic YouTuber concept of colour wheel chooses my reads to try and allow me to still be my mood reader self, but get through some of my books on this ridiculous TBR. Because it's getting ridiculous and I'm trying to go to the 66 bookshop and I need some space to put them. So once again, we're going to aim for 3 books in this vlog, as we always do. Hopefully that works for you. I have got my wheel on the iPad down here, but I'm going to get it to screen record and put that footage over here so you guys can see what she's saying. But for your reference, I'm going to spin the wheel 3 times now, choose the books now, but for you, I will clip the footage together so they are a surprise every time. But now you're aware of the T's and C's, let's get into this. I'm going to spin that wheel. Okay, our first colour is teal. I feel like teal is actually really hard. What books have I got that are teal? I mean, you guys can see. I'm going to rummage, try and find some options, and I'll be back. Okay, I have done some scavenging, and this is what I could find. I've got Jeremy Vine, Murder on Line 1, and I've got The Names by Florence Knapp. To be honest, I think this one is a bit of a shout for teal, but this is literally the only 2 that I've got that teal. And low-key, this one's a bit of a shout, like, because it's not even all teal. For teal, I'm going to choose The Names by Florence Knapp, because Miss Ellen Catherine Reeds read this in hardback a little while ago, and the concept just sounded so interesting to me. But I will catch up with you with the full concept in a minute. Hey, I'm finally coming at you with a first check-in on The Names by Florence Knapp. I'm actually 41% in, because basically how this book works is that, oh, by the way, new news, because I'm going to Scotland. Hope you're obsessed. I am. Anyway, back to the point. This book is basically about a woman named Cora, and she has a daughter named, I want to say Maria or Mia, M-A-I-A. I'll put the spelling on screen. And basically, her and her partner Gordon have had a son, and she needs to take her son to the registry office, and he is obsessed with calling his son Gordon. It's a generational thing, and she doesn't want to follow that vibe. Cora is not for that vibe. But basically, we follow the 3 different timelines of which of the names that she chooses. So there's 3 names that she chooses. There is Julian, Bear, and Gordon. And it follows the story of all of our characters, whether it's the child, her daughter, or our main male lead, and how their lives fall over time, depending on what he's called. So my favourite POV at the moment is Bear. I think that's a very cute name to start with, but overall it's the best case scenario for them in their lives, so that's good. But basically, without trying to give you any spoilers, partner Gordon, not the one. He's abusive, he's not the vibe. Awful. But I can't give you much more than that, because it's a spoiler of every POV. Me giving you the 3 names is probably a bit of a spoiler. But yeah, basically it's really good. I'm actually really enjoying it. I actually think I'm in the 4-star, 4.5-star realm at the moment. Really enjoying the writing style. Sometimes I am getting confused of which POV I'm in, but I'm getting better at remembering which scenario is with which name. And they've got some really cute illustrations at the front of each chapter title. I will show you that later when I do a clip of me reading, because I actually haven't had a chance. And yeah, I think it's a very impactful story, and I also love like the science behind naming, and also like the meaning of everyone's name. I truly feel like you are kind of like, although you don't know what your name is going to be, I feel like your name changes the vibe of who you are. Like my name, for example, is Abigail, and that is such a fitting vibe for me, I feel. I'll try and insert the vibes on screen, and if editing me disagrees, I'll put that on. But yeah, just overall really enjoying it. I'm actually speeding through it because each timeline is set in the the three names, and each name has its own chapter. I was just trying to read three names and then stop, like the three chapters of three names and then stop, but that led me to getting 41% in. So there we go. But I've been so busy this week with work and general doolally that like I haven't had a chance to sit and record. I haven't had a chance to sit and catch up with you. So if I have any more thoughts and feelings, I'll give them to you probably in my final check-in, because I'm 41%, so I shouldn't really give you a 60% because that'll be too soon, won't it? But when I got some final thoughts, I will catch up with you then. Bye for now. Hello! I'm actually about to start a reading sprint, but I thought while I remember, I would show you the cute little chapter intro pictures. So this is the intro picture for Bear. Let me just scroll to the next one. Hold caller. There's the one for Gordon, like Gordon's gin. And where's one for Julian? And there's the picture for Julian. Obviously, once you read these, you'll understand the context of the pictures, because the one for Julian you won't understand without me spoiling it for you. And the Gordon's gin reference you'll understand when you read it. But let me go and try and finish this bad boy, because we're nearly there. Hello, I'm coming at you with my final thoughts on The Names by Florence Knapp. I ended up giving this bad boy a 4 stars. This actually was a 5-star predicted for me, so I'm slightly disappointed it was a 4-star. But I must admit that it was only a 4-star because my own short attention span and me getting confused of where I was stopping in the book. But let's talk about the positives first before we talk about that. So this was so interesting as a concept. As someone who believes in the power of your choices, angel numbers, like the meaning of names, that sort of thing, this was such an interesting concept to me. This is the first time I've ever seen a concept like this. So when I heard about it and saw that Ellen Catherine, my favourite booktuber of all time, rated this really highly, I was like, get that TBR. But after reading the epilogue, this has been so highly researched, detailed. Every piece of art that's referenced in this is so well researched, it's so thoughtful, and just you couldn't find a fault in the writing. The writing style was really easy to read, really gorgeous. All of our characters had such interesting backgrounds, thoughts, feelings. There's gay representation in this, but pre-warning, there are some deeper, darker topics in this. So the overarching theme of this is domestic abuse. So wouldn't recommend if you are sensitive or worried about that subject. Grief is quite heavily touched on in this, as there's some alternative paths where grief is a big thing. And yeah, it's just, you have to think so hard about the reasoning behind it until you read the epilogue, and then the epilogue unlocks all of the jigsaw pieces of like the representation of everything in it. Like the name Bear was such a beautiful choice, and Julian was such a good name choice. Like every path had a good enough ending. Like every character, based on the circumstances, got their justice, I feel. The only real thing that was such the biggest heartbreaker for me in this is that we didn't get any POV from the dad. So our main lady Cora was in a relationship with a man named Gordon, which I think I said in our previous clip, but you didn't get anything about Gordon in any of the Gordon path. You got a little bit about him, but you never got any thoughts from his POV until right at the end, which was so disappointing because you got so much more on all of our characters and I wanted to understand him. Even though obviously he was a twat because he was horrible. Like, I wanted to know him, I wanted to understand him and why he was like that. And there were references through Cora talking about their relationship and his upbringing, but I don't know, like as a lit fic lover, I want to know every character, but every path, every relationship was so beautifully explored. The scenery in this was really vivid, imagery was super strong, and like I said, the epilogue was a beautiful summary of the ending and the art and the history and all of the knowledge put into this. I definitely agree that I think this is something that will eventually become a classic if you like kind of like the multiverse, the power of choice and those sorts of things. I would highly recommend this. This is such a unique concept and I truly feel that if you like a lit fic, this is definitely your vibe. But now we've finished tail, let's go to the wheel and see what our second colour option was. Hey, chosen the first pick of the vlog. Hopefully we enjoyed it. But let's get down to business and spin that wheel. Ooh, we got light blue. Ooh. I have a few options for light blue actually. That is super exciting. I am going to go and scour my shelves and I'll come back to you with some choices. Hello! I've come back with some options. I don't know how like close of a shout they are, but they feel like a good shout. We've got Of Mice and Murder by Sally Smith. We have got Apples Never Fall by Leanne Moriarty. Can't say that name. Moriarty. And we have Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. But to be honest with you, I've done some research. This doesn't have a blurb in it, so no idea what this is about. This is, I think it's another lit fic, and we've already got the name, so I don't really want to read another lit fic. So I actually think I'm going to go for A Case of Mice and Murder by Sally Smith. Just because it sounds like it's going to be a goofy little thriller. And I could do that out of these options, because from what I know about our previous read, The Names, it's quite hard hitting. So for our light blue, I'm going to go A Case of Mice and Murder. Let's go and check it out. Hey! After that little reading sprint, I've actually managed to get 32% into our light blue book, which is A Case of Mice and Murder by Sally Smith. So far, I'm not sure, right? Basically, this is about a murder that happened in, I want to say the Royal Courts of Justice, but that's going to be wrong. Basically, the main judge, Lord Dunning, was killed. He was found in our main character Sir Gabriel's office with a knife in the heart. And basically, because they're like a protected unit, the main treasurer has said to Gabriel, can you do us a solid? We really don't want the police working on this because we're a private building. Can you, as our most investigative judge, and we know you weren't there at the scene of the crime, do some digging into this one for us, geezer? I believe this is set in the 1960s. So, obviously it's 1960s behaviour. Like, the police are shit. Abuse is real. Like, there's a lot of, like, generally 1960s topics, and there's a lot of, difficult language. Like, I'm holding on the Kindle definition thing quite a lot because I'm stupid. But overall, I like both of our main characters. He's working with a police officer that they've allowed to have a look round. What's his name? I've literally just read it. Wright. Detective Wright. And he's a recently enrolled police officer, and he does his duties, and he's just a man of the law. But he wants to learn more about the forces, and he wants to just be more than a standard police officer. He's desperate to do more, which is why they've put him on this case with Gabriel to try and figure it out, and he's learning loads about the law and police forcing and all that sort of thing, which is getting him excited. And I'm currently 32% in. It's giving 3-star right now. To be honest, I'm struggling to pick it up, which is unlike me, because I normally like a crimey thriller sort of vibe. But I think it's literally just because I'm a chronic mood reader and I'm really not in the mood for that right now because it's fucking boiling. So I'm actually in the mood to be reading like a cheeky romance or I'm just in my like horror era right now. So it's not really what I'm in the mood for. But for the challenge, we're going to hold out. But I'm getting into it. It's the longer I've been reading it, the more I've been figuring it out, feeling the vibes, understanding what's going on. To be honest, I keep forgetting which judge is who, but I'm trying my best. I know Gabriel's our detective. We've got Brown, Williams, the treasurer, and some other bits. But yeah, I really like Wright as well. I think he's fun and dedicated to his job, and it's super nice to see the two of them together, and they're doing some digging, and they've got a couple of people they're not sure about now. And also, Gabriel has got a big case going on at the moment about an author. So one of the judges basically stole an author's piece that they weren't sure if they were going to publish on a children's book. I think it's called Millie the Mouse or something. And yeah, he's currently trying to solve that case in the defence of his judicial partner. But basically, she threw it out. No, she brought it to the judge to say, this is what I'm thinking about writing. Not sure on the vibes. And he said, throw it in the bin. Then his daughter found it out of the bin and was like obsessed. Millie the Mouse, she's a queen. And now he's published it, got loads of stuff sorted, like spent millions and millions and millions and got millions and millions and millions out of this franchise. And the author, who lived somewhere else, came to a trip to the UK, and she's like, that's literally my story. So they're now scared that like one of their main court people is going to lose all their money, so they're going to lose a load of their funding. So we've got like a few different bits going on at the same time. But to be honest with you, I'm more interested in the court case about Millie the Mouse than I am our actual crime about Lord Dunning at the moment. Because they're obsessed that he had no shoes on. Lord Dunning was found with no shoes on, and they keep asking everyone if they were wearing shoes. Like, babe, of course they were wearing shoes, but what do I know? It's probably because I'm not that interested and I'm really trying. But for now, 3-star behaviour. And I will check in with you again very soon. Bye for now. Hello from holiday. I'm coming at you with my 71% check-in on my A Case of Mice and Murder by Sally Smith. Sorry if you can hear the shower in the background. My partner's in the shower. But truthfully, this book is putting me in quite the reading slump. It's taken me nearly 2 weeks to read so far, and I'm only 71% in. In the meantime, I've been listening to a different audiobook and finished another audiobook. Speaks for itself. But so far, it's probably a 2.5 star. Like, I think I'm just stupid because half the terminology I don't understand. the court case has been and done. The main bit that I was interested in, been done. And it was so quick. It was literally a chapter and the court case was over, and I was absolutely gutted because I was actually really interested in like the backstory and all that sort of side of it. But it's what it is. People have been revealing stuff. Obviously, people have been hiding stuff because it's a thriller. Hello. And more stuff is coming out, but we're still not much closer to a conclusion. Like, somebody's being falsely accused, which is obvious it's not them. And I just want to know who it is now. I'm bored now, which is not the vibe. But I'm going to try and push through and finish it for this vlog. But I think because I'm not in the mood for it, I'm not giving it the justice it deserves. Strong time of year, not the vibe to be reading it. But I think it's a 2 right now. And I'm not inclined to pick up the second one. I've been book shopping around on holiday. And I've seen it in the shop a few times. And I'm just like, first one's really not holding me. If I wasn't doing this for you lot, I think I would have DNF'd it by now. So that speaks for itself. But I've got the flight home tomorrow to read some more. This evening to read some more. So I'm hoping that I can finish it this weekend. So I can move on to the final book of this vlog. Because I just want to read the ones that I've bought, truthfully. I'm so excited to read them. But I'll probably give you a haul on TikTok or Instagram, just because it's easier. So if you follow me on socials down below, then you'll get to see that. Sorry to bait you out like that, but it's what it is. I've been to a whiskey experience, so I'm kind of low-key too drunk to give you that info right now. But I'm gonna go 2.5 because 2 feels harsh just because I'm stupid. So currently in the 2.5 realm, and I will catch up with you probably in a few days with my final thoughts. Laters. Hello. I am coming to give you my final check-in on Sally Smith's A Case of Mice and Murder. Gang, I don't know what to say about this one. Overall conclusion, this book made me feel stupid. It put me in a bit of a reading slump. I didn't understand anything that was going on 90% of the time. The terminology was super confusing. Perfect for the era. Don't get me wrong. The era, the theme, the setting, well done. How everything tied up in the end and how everything is connected based on this title, very good. Very good, done very well. But bit of a shit end. Like, there was no overall justice really for both ends, so I was a bit annoyed. But to be honest, I'm sure you can tell I'm a bit annoyed overall about this experience. I will not be picking up the second one. Although they say they're part of a series, I don't see how there could be a connection. It's literally just like another one of following the same detective kind of vibe. But I've not posted a review on Fable yet, and I'm going to do that after this, and I will insert that here for you to have a read. But as you can see on there, I gave this 2 stars. I feel 2 stars was generous, okay? But I'm giving the characters some grace. I really liked Gabriel. I really liked Detective Wright. I really liked the Dunnings family. Like, all the people in this I really liked. The setting was really good. Like, I can't knock it for the research and the terminology being correct for the time era. I only know that because Kindle Definition saved my life. Without Kindle Definition, rip. But I can't give it any higher because I literally, if I hadn't been doing this for a vlog, she would have been DNF'd potentially 20% in. But the holiday saved me because I read this on the plane and like in the hotel in the evening, like that sort of thing. But, you know, I'm really trying not to be a hater because this, if you like this period of the 1960s, if you like law and justice and the legal system and women's rights in this era, you'd probably really enjoy this. So I don't want you to not pick this up. This cover is still awesome. Love this cover. This little guy right here. Well, Millie the Mouse. Epic! And if you loved this book, please tell me why I'm being an idiot in the description, because not in the description, in the comments, because even when it all came to an end, I could not put two and two together of who it was. Like, there was no drip feeding for me. I was confused. But I think generally that's a me problem. But let's finally get on to the last book of this vlog. Let's go and check in with Abby from the past and go and see what the final spin wheel has got to say for us. See you there. Ooh, white. Okay. I actually don't know if I have any white books. This might have to be a bit of a rogue shout. Let me go and collect some evidence and come back to you. So, I've done some digging, okay? And I've got more choices than I thought. Okay, this one, I really, really, really want to read. However, I don't know if it counts, okay? Because, let me show you. It's my stunning Illumicrate edition of The Ending Rites itself by Evelyn Clark, right? The dust jacket is like a grey matte colour, so can I get away with it for white? But the hardback itself, stunning by the way, let me just show you while I'm here. Spray there. Look at this. Gorgeous. But obviously the hardback itself is like brown. So I don't know if we can count it. I don't know what, I mean it's literally my video, but like I don't know what the official rules are, if there are any official rules. So as much as I want to read this, I don't know if it counts. So I'm gonna put it down, which is very sad. But, okay, I'm gonna tell you, I picked this one out of the shelf and said no straight away. Look at this. Although it is completely white and probably fits the prompt the best out of all these. No. No, no, no. I have not got the willpower right now to read all that. Like, I do really want to read this book. This book is so special because, hello, it's literally VE Schwab. And I really want to read her stuff. Like, I really do. By the way, just saying, she co-wrote this. But, basically, I think I might keel over if I try and read all these pages right now. So I'm not going to put myself through it. How many pages are we looking at here? 543. Not for me, babe. I'm trying to get 300s. And I've also got Before the Coffee Gets Cold, Tales from the Cafe, which is the second in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. But truthfully, I picked this up because majority half of it is white. And it's a short one. But I didn't know if it counted as yellow or white. So I'm not going to run the risk and put this one down. But these three were my top 3 contenders. Because, right, hear me out. Night Bitch, I've had on my TBR for so long. And the concept super interests me. It's about a mother and her son. But, like, over time, she goes crazy. Which sounds so good. I found this through Florence Harvey's YouTube channel, and I love Florence Harvey. I have a lot of similar interests in reading to her. So when she gave this one a good review, I was like, purchased. But again, don't know if it counts because it's technically not white, is it? It's skin tone. So, and that's not an option on the wheel. So can't really cheat. However, these two, I would say, are white, right? Are we saying white? Let me check the hardback before you all come for me. Oh, the hardback's red. Are we allowing me the dust jacket? Because this is one I really want to read. I've had this one for ages. Girlfriend on Mars by Deborah Willis. This, right, is about a guy and his girlfriend, but his girlfriend decides to go on a dating show, not like a dating show, but like a TV show on Mars. And it's him like dealing with her being on a TV show on Mars and dealing with their family and all that sort of stuff, which screams really interesting to me. However, now I've seen the hardback's read, I feel like I can't choose it. Fuming. So, out of all our deliberation there, sorry to give you my process, that leaves us with Vicious by V.E. Schwab. Can you tell? I really want to read V.E. Schwab. But this one I also have on the Kindle. So I'd say there's no reason to detest that this is white, right? I'm putting it back in the light so you can see. Oh, is it cream? Oh, is it cream, everyone? Don't care. I'm choosing Vicious by V.E. Schwab for our final book of the vlog. So I will catch up with you when I have some thoughts on this one. See you there. Hello, I'm coming at you to give you my 30% thoughts on our white book, which is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I'm actually doing a partial audio listen on this because I am in the mood for an audio, but so far this is giving 5 stars. I am obsessed. I want to keep reading. The concept is super interesting. So I don't know how much to give you without it being a spoiler, because I went into this pretty blind and it was actually really good to go into it pretty blind. So basically this is set around 2 characters. That is Eli and Victor. Victor is our main male character, but Eli is his partner in crime. And basically they are medical students at uni, and they have been told to do their final thesis, and Victor is doing a thesis on adrenaline, and Eli is doing a thesis on extraordinary creatures. And they basically work together to try and figure out how extraordinary creatures like began existing. And I'm not going to give you any more than that because it will be a spoiler. But so far, Victor is batshit, and Eli is also a bit weird. And they had a mutual crush for years and years and years, and she's involved, but basically this had me shook and surprised, and I literally can't put the audio down. I've been listening to it like to and from work, obsessed. So I'm hoping I'll catch up with you again at like the 70%, but I'll try not to binge it through to the end. But I will catch up with you then. Obsessed. I'm actually come here to apologise because I'm the worst vlogger in the world. I have no 80% check-in for you for Vicious by V.E. Schwab because I finished this in like 2 days. I know you're thinking, oh my god, that's pretty quick. Yes, that is really quick because I'm absolutely obsessed with it. When I caught up with you in the car, I literally couldn't put it down. I have been listening to this as well as reading it on the Kindle, which has been fantastic. This is a read and listen on Audible, so if you listen to it on Audible, it syncs up automatically with your Kindle and vice versa, which has been fantastic. And if you couldn't fucking tell, 5 stars. 5 stars! It was so good. Everyone was so complicated. This was gothic. This was gripping and epic, as it says up the top up there. Everyone was so unique. Everyone's abilities were so interesting. But it made sense, them having abilities. It wasn't like, oh, we just suddenly woke up one day and we were magic. Like, this goes through the science behind them getting abilities. This had a very strong hero and villain origin dynamic, which is so interesting to explore. And I just loved our main team of villains who we follow, and I felt that our hero dynamic was really interesting, and everyone's sidekick like abilities were interesting. There was a lot of clues hidden throughout this to tell you what happens in the end, which for me I love getting crumbs throughout, because you will lose me if I genuinely have no idea what's going on all the way through. But this 110% can get you out of a reading slump. This has got me out of a reading slump. So good. This is actually technically the first of a duology, because I believe Vengeful, I'll attach a picture here. Vengeful is the second book, which follows... I don't know if she's mentioned in this book the character that it follows, but we do come back to meet our main team who are in this. So I'm actually debating dropping everything in my life right now and reading the second one. But the audiobook narrator I don't think is the same, which I'm a bit annoyed about because I really liked the narrator for this. They were quite good. It was a shame that we didn't get a jump from male and female, but it didn't bother me too much. I'm not particularly fussy. Like, I'm happy to do dual or single in terms of audio, but I think dual is nicer overall. But this was also a read and listen on Audible, which was fantastic, because that means that basically if you listen to the audiobook, it will sync up where you are on the Kindle and vice versa. And also you can read and listen. So on my phone, it gave me a separate tab called read and listen, and then it literally will follow the words for you while you're listening to it, which I thought was super cool as well. I've only ever read one other read and listen, and that was really good too. But all of that to say, of course I gave this 5 stars. Are you joking? Here is my Fable review. Of course I was obsessed, but I'm sad to say that this vlog is actually over. Of course I'm going to give you a roundup on all of them properly and in detail when I'm not overwhelmed and excited about finishing this. But for now, I will say I'm so glad I chose this as my last one, because the reading slump I was in earlier with A Case of Murder was not cute. Like, I'm trying to record, so thank you so much to V.E. Schwab for that one. But I will catch up with you shortly when I give you a roundup on all that we've read today. See you then. Hello. I'm coming at you with our reading wrap up for this vlog. Thank you so much for joining me on the Colour Wheel journey. I would say this has been a pretty good reading vlog, generally. Like, we only had one bad moment in the middle, but overall, I would say very successful. I've knocked 3 books that I really wanted to get off my TBR, so I can't really complain. But let's go over those in detail. We first spun that wheel and got Teal. That literally rhymes. Sorry about that, gang. Wasn't in verse. And from that choice, I chose The Names by Florence Knapp. To be honest, still not sure if it really hits the teal agenda. It probably would have been more pink, but don't care, it's my vlog, do what I want. And this book has been on my TBR for a while. I watched Ellen Catherine read this when it came out in hardback in a vlog and added it to my TBR instantly because the concept is so interesting to me. And a recap on that concept. This is a, let's say multiverse, because I don't know a better word to describe it, a multiverse story of how when a woman took her son to the courthouse and decided to name him, how each name changed his future, basically. And there are some trigger warnings in this. Well, I would say trigger warnings are domestic abuse, grief, death, those sorts of things. But you'll get more context for those if you decide to read this. But this I gave 4 stars. It was very, very good. It definitely wasn't 5-star behaviour, but I think it's because the chapters were quite long for me, from the best of my knowledge. I read this a little while ago, so time is slightly out for me on this vlog. But I really enjoyed every POV, seeing how the son developed, seeing how his sister developed, the mother developed, their relationships, who they surrounded themselves with were very, very good. But I did get lost in a POV sometimes because obviously you're following all the same characters and the environment's very similar. So sometimes I was getting half my own fault because I was putting it down like in the middle of a chapter, because I'd be like reading it on my break or whatever, and then I'd pick it up again and be like, wait, who? And then have to go back and remember whose POV I was in. But when I actually sat and did a good stint of this, every POV I enjoyed. The illustrations in these are so cute. I think I showed you before, but I'll see if I can quickly find one to show you another one. Like, yeah, look at that. So cute. And every POV starts with a little illustration like that related to the character, which, nice little cute detail. But I will insert my Fable review here in case you didn't catch it when I was yapping about it. 4 stars for The Names by Florence Knapp. Very, very much enjoyed this one. Glad that I read it, and now it's off my TBR. I will be keeping it because I feel like this could be a classic in the future. I don't know how things become a classic. Is it because a lot of people read it? I don't know. But I feel like this is one that I got a funny feeling about this. I'm going to keep hold of her because I like her. All right? But on to the next. So we then spun that wheel again. Here she is. And we got Light Blue. And from our selection from Light Blue, I thought I had more Light Blue books. When I was going through my shelves, I was like, girl, why do we literally not own nothing Light Blue? This is ridiculous. So the one I did have was A Case of Mice and Murder. A Case of Mice and Murder by Sally Smith. This one, our downfall of the vlog. Not very successful reading time for me with this. I gave this a 2-star, and it put me in a bit of a reading slump, guys, I can't lie. It took me 13 days to read 327 pages. That's bad, considering I read normally about a book a week, maybe 2 books a week if I've got a physical book and an audiobook going on. That's how I know this was a bad sign. But to refresh your memory, this is about Gabriel, who is a lawyer. I want to say for the Royal Courts of Justice, but I might be wrong. But Gabriel is part of the Royal Courts of Justice, and one of his colleagues, Lord Dunning, is murdered outside of his office. So Gabriel is recruited by their manager, or their like head chief of justice, whatever the words are, to dig into this murder, because this court that they live in is very protected. They really don't want the police coming in, messing with anything, because it's all confidential, that sort of thing. So Gabriel is recruited to figure out what was going on. We know he's innocent because he's such a creature of habit. He basically does the same things all day, every day, and he wasn't invited to the big dinner that they all went to before. So they know he's an innocent party. So he gets digging. And the reason this is called A Case of Mice and Murder is because the case that he's got going on in his, like, legal side of things is about the wonderful Millie the Mouse. And this goes to talk about, you know, what's going on with what was everyone doing at this party, obviously, like, figuring out the case, but also we get a little snippet into the legal system and the justice of what's going on with Millie the Mouse. So you get that too. And I was more interested in what was going on with Millie the Mouse than I was about the death of Lord Dunning. So when we only got like 1 chapter about the legal stuff, I was quite upset considering where this is set. But I think that's just because I was confused, as you probably know from my previous reaction. The language in this was throwing me off. I just didn't understand what was going on 90% of the time. I was confused. That's probably because I'm illiterate. And this is set in the 1960s, so the terminology and stuff that is used is very well fitting for the time, like the setting. I just think this was wrong time read for me because I just needed something easy. I was travelling, and this just was not easy on the brain. Thank God for Kindle definition is all I'll say, because I was just holding and highlighting the words the whole time. But you know, if you like the 1960s, if you like the law, if you like a thriller, crimey, this is a very good one. I liked Gabriel. I liked our detective that was involved. I liked their sense of justice. And they were cute characters. There is a second book that has just dropped for this series. I will insert a picture here because I can't remember what it's called. But that follows Gabriel again. I think this is going to become one of those like follow the same detective series, which will be really good if you really enjoy this and you like Gabriel. I don't know if it follows the police officer as well. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I'm not sure. But I currently have no interest in reading anything else from Sally Smith right now. So I'll see. I might change my mind. But for now, this was 2 stars. Okay. And the final book of the vlog, one of the most fantastic books I've read overall this month. Here we are. We spun the wheel and we got White. I then chose Vicious by V.E. Schwab. Oh, guys, we already know 5 stars. This got me out of the reading slump that Case of Mice and Murder put me in. This was epic and gripping, as it says up here. It was such a quick read. The audiobook was really good. I had this on audio and Kindle and paperback. I did all the reading formats for this so I physically could, because I literally couldn't put it down. I was obsessed. Yeah, I was obsessed. It was literally so good. This follows our main characters, oh my god, Victor and Eli, and they go to university together, and I don't want to give you too much because it will literally spoil it, but basically they're both really intelligent men who go to university together, and they decide to choose their thesis for the season, like for the academic year, and Eli decides to do a thesis on EOs, and it gets approved, and Victor, who decided to do a thesis on adrenaline, is really, really jealous of Eli's thesis. So they start working together on EOs, and it leads from there. But this was fantastic. I gave this 5 stars. I read this in like 2 days because I literally couldn't put it down. If I wasn't listening to the audiobook, I was on the Kindle. If I didn't have the Kindle, the paperback was literally attached to me. My Kindle and my paperback were literally attached to me at all times. Like, obsessed. I didn't even check in with you, I don't think. That's how absorbed I was by this. But might have to get my hands on the special edition that just dropped, can't I? I'll insert a photo of the gorgeous special edition. If I get hold of it, I will let you know. But 5 stars, highly, highly, highly recommend. It's on Kindle Unlimited, I believe. So it is also on tandem with Kindle Read and Listen. So if you're someone that likes to tandem read, you can literally hit read and listen on Audible. I'll see if I can insert a picture. And it literally runs through the text as they're saying it, which is not as fun as sitting with a book or with a Kindle. But if you're someone who's trying to keep to one device, fantastic news. But that was all that we discovered in this vlog. I am so glad to have 3 books off my physical TBR. Here they are in all their glory. And thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If you liked, please subscribe, like, comment, all of those things that you're supposed to do, that I'm supposed to tell you to do. And please follow my Fable to see all of my reviews early if you would like a little bit of a preview of what I'm up to and the other things that I read that I don't necessarily put in a vlog. And please follow my Instagram, please follow my TikTok. The links are all in the description. Here are the handles right here. It's normally Abby does stuff. I try and keep everything the same wherever I am. But I think that's all for now. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.